you can actually say that when you initially start off anything, you've got an idea to build an e-commerce website. That is just an idea at that point of time. You're just starting off as a concept. But from there on, you need to actually do some work. You'll have some wireframes, you'll have some sketches, you've got some rough models, a basic design in place. You could have a database, and then finally you can actually start coding and then putting together some aspects and then start actually delivering the functionality. So as you see, initially, it's a bit hazy. You don't know what you're trying to develop. It's a very woolly, as you say, a very woolly picture in terms of where it is. You've said 30,000 feet overview of the stuff that you're really looking at. At that distance, at that height, you really don't have any idea in terms of the detailing. As I say, the devil lies in the details. You would not have an idea of the specifics of that. In that context, your estimates, you still need to do estimation. You still need to have an idea where you're going, what you're trying to accomplish. And for that particular point of time, your estimation could be it's way out in terms of the accuracy, if you ask. So that would be about plus or minus 50% in terms of reality, the actual versus what you've estimated. And then when you actually start building up the functionality, and we are in the formative stages as what we call, then your estimation actually kind of gets narrowed down because you've got a better handle. You understand better how many database tables are required, what technology you're using, how many tools do you need to finish the design, how many classes are there in the context of your specific functionality, and what are the interfaces that you need, how many systems you need to interact with. So you're getting a little bit closer in terms of the actual dependencies, the constraints, the challenges, and what you need to really do to get the work done. So that's where in agile context, we call that as definition of done. So when you actually get down to the specifics, you're actually trying to understand that, what are the things required for you to complete a functionality? What are the acceptance criteria? When you get down to these levels, what are the wireframes? How should it look like? You're actually talking more in terms of the harder aspects of the detailing. So here at this point of time, your implementation oriented estimate is what we call the development related stuff. The estimates that you actually come up with, the accuracy could be really, really very fine grained, and it could be just about 5 to 10% plus or minus in terms of the actual. So you can actually get to see the reason for that is basically that you've got more and more detailing, more and more handle on the variables, on the things that on the factors, external factors, as well as internal factors that could affect your estimate. And so it is important you actually kind of understand this, in what stage you're trying to do the estimation. Is it in the early stages, or is it in the formative stages of development, or is it at the much later stage? Once you complete a project and then somebody asks you, can you give me a quote for the same kind of a website? If you want to build a similar one for me, how much would it cost? So you actually have a better feeling about it then than when you were asked 2 years before that, when you didn't have any clue whatsoever. So in the context of that angle, what we need to understand is the cost factors. First of all, the first thing that comes into estimation is, when people ask you estimates, they're talking about how much would it cost me to build something like this. So it would be, for example, the costing could be in terms of the specific reporting periods. Is it with the financial year, this financial year, next financial year? So you've got the period dates, for example, that comes into picture. You've got the total effort from all the people involved. Now you've got distributed teams working in different countries now, from people in the UK, India, China, Russia, Poland, people across different teams. You've got these collaborative distributed teams trying to actually work on the same platform, in a collaborative manner. So the effort would actually be a sum total of all of these. Similarly, you also need to look at, in terms of development, it would be the front end, the middleware, the APIs, and the application logic, as well as the data layer, the back end. So it's a sum total of all of these that you need to say that this is the effort, the total effort. It cannot be just build a screen and I'm done. No. Even if you build a screen where you capture the details, that is important, that you need to save the data somewhere, right? So you need to have a database. You need to have some kind of a data store where we actually capture the data, whatever is being saved or whatever is being performed by the user. So you need to have a backend for that. So unless you look at this in a complete, in totality, in its entirety, you cannot estimate the individual parts and say that is done. So you need to have this. We'll talk later about the top down versus bottom up estimation. So that would give you a better idea.